right, boys and girls, it's time for Jerry's Outdoor Show. Heard exclusively right here on AM 860, FM 95.1, KWPC, the voice of Muscatine. Powered by Indian Creek Lure Company, the Sicilian Pizzeria, Mitchell Arms and Ammo, Pierce Custom Rods, Tailwater Marine, Deaf Guy Taxidermy, and RB's Outback Bait and Tackle. Like Jerry's Outdoor Show on Facebook. Jerry, our rods and reels are ready. Let's go fishing.
All right, it is a beautiful Friday morning. Well, started out so much as a beautiful Friday morning, but it looks a little overcast. It looks like the rain's going to stay away for a little bit. And speaking of rain, I saw this thing on Facebook. Oh, I wish these weatherman would get the forecast right. Well, I'll tell you what, Lottie, this is what happened last night. I got done working, and it's like, all right, I'm going to go home. I'm going to load up the boat, and I'm going to go fishing. I'm going to head out to the Cedar. So I got home, and we have a little rule in my house. I can't come directly home and go out fishing. I have to speak with my wife for about an hour before I can go, and then I'm free to go. So anyway, we talked about the day's events and all that, and I said, well, my hour's up. I'm gonna go fishing. And I did this number where I was slapping my pants and that. It's like, where's my wallet at? So I go through the whole house. I can't find my wallet. I can't find my wallet in the truck. And I sat there and thought. And I work up in Iowa City. And it's like, oh, man, I wore shorts today. And I get so much junk in my pockets that I end up taking it out and putting it somewhere. I was like, oh, man, I left my wallet up in Iowa City. So I had to cruise up to Iowa City last night to get my wallet. And by the time I got back home, I'm trying to look at the radar and all this. It's like, oh, man, there's a storm coming. There's a storm coming. I ain't going to make it. So by the time I got back home, I said, the heck with it. It's going to rain any minute. I went to bed at 9, 10 o'clock last night, and I don't think we got a drop of rain. I mean, you said it. You thought it rained a little bit overnight?
Yeah, it did. We got a little rain at our place.
Yeah.
And when I worked for the state, we always had to have a contract winter forecaster.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't go with a local forecaster
or
really? Anything. Yeah, it had to be a contract professional. Well, they're all professional, but anyway, what they told us when it came to accuracy of their forecasts is that any time within their area, and it may be a 5-county area, if one of those counties get a drop of rain or a little bit of rain or a little bit of snow, it is then considered an accurate forecast.
I guess. Is that how it works out here at the station, Wes?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Here we go. Hey, you're on Jerry's Outdoor Show. Thank you for joining us this morning. With me this morning is our good friend Wes Jordan sitting in on the boards.
Hi,
and
buddy.
My good friend Lonnie Ford. And absent today is our good friend Randy Brewer. He's kind of sidelined. He's a little bit on the DL list, and He's gonna stay home. I think what it was, Lonnie, was Saturday. Me and Randy went fishing down to Lake Belvedere. So it was me and Randy. We took his grandson rather, Buckshot Brewer, and we went down there. And man, we cruised over some bluegill beds on that northwest corner of that. And, man, they were all over, just stacked on there. But we get the boat a little close, and then they would scatter. I could have put that jig in their mouth. They weren't gonna bite, And the bigger ones would stay there, but they wouldn't bite. So we're screwing around with them. I mean, there's like thousands and thousands of these spawning beds, and it looks like the surface of the moon out there, And so Buckshot with us. So Grandpa, as a pacifier, he puts a minnow on Buckshot's rod there and kind of tosses it over to the other side of the boat where we're trying to work these spawning beds. And dang, if Buckshot didn't pull up 2 big bass, and me and Grandpa Brewer there didn't catch a thing. Didn't catch a thing. So we got outfished by a 5-year-old. So that's the way it worked for us. Everybody, there was a lot of boats out there, and it's a big lake, and there wasn't a heck of a lot of people catching anything out there.
Well, I thought maybe Randy'd be home celebrating. Didn't he get a Father's Day gift card from the DNR over the weekend.
Yeah, I posted that up there. We came in. We came into the parking lot there after we got done fishing, and the DNR was just sitting there in the truck. And he was watching, everybody come in. And so we pulled in, and he just came over as a friendly thing. And, how's it going? What'd you catch? Can I see your license? Well, Randy's got about 3 different licenses. He's got one for Illinois, one for something else, and the other one. Well, he found the 2 that he didn't need. So he was searching, so that's why I snapped that picture. And I didn't put any caption on it. I just said, ha ha, and posted it on the internet. And my God, the likes, oh, what did he do? What the heck went on? What the problem going there? So, but no, that's all it was. And they're real friendly folks. And like I said, we didn't have a lot of limits to show because we didn't get any. But man, we wanted to get down there this week and try it, but it just didn't work out. So they're going to be on the beds down there.
Yep.
So it's ready to go. The water temp was about 65, 70. So, and it's I posted a thing on there with the spawning beds, and everybody just kind of went, what are those? What are those? What are those? But we'll get on to that a little bit later on in the show. Now, Lonnie, I couldn't get out to Rochester last night, and you told me I missed it. Lonnie come in here this morning with some pictures. What'd your brother get now again?
They set flathead lines. Diddy poles, which you're going to talk about or have talked. And he had them and a few other guys had some pretty good luck. He ended up with a 40 or 30 pounder, and it's a big fish. It's a long fish. And then there was a 56 pounder caught. So they were having a pretty good week. And I had talked to him just before I came up here, and he's he's rebaiting now, getting fresh bait, and he's going to throw them back out because they're really hitting pretty good.
Well, somebody pulled the cork on the cedar, didn't they?
Well, it's getting down there fairly low. Out there at my place, there's the piers, I'm going to mark those piers this summer with the I'm going to go by the Conesville flood stage down there.
Oh, okay, I got it.
And what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark the piers on the center pier out in the channel for my own use, but also anybody else who wants to view it. I'm going to mark the minimum flood line and the maximum flood line.
Okay.
Even if I have to take an old stepladder out and stand it on the sandbar to get up high enough on that.
That's why women live longer than men. Yeah. So what we should do is so we can put a mental image in everybody's mind here. Where the property that Lonnie has is right on the Cedar River there, and when he's saying piers, it's the old bridge piers.
Yes, the
old limestone. If you go down to the Muscatine riverfront and you see them old limestone piers, that's exactly what you got. Well, you got 3 there. You got one with your fish landing on, one out in the middle, and one towards the other side. Yeah,
one towards the other side, and one that's totally dilapidated there on the east bank.
Right.
Yeah, it's the old Highway 6, the original Highway 6 roadbed that went through there.
Huh. Well, that's just amazing. I mean, how long ago was that taken out? I mean, because must have been, was that connected to Salisbury? When the old Salisbury Bridge out there?
The old Tice Bridge?
Yeah.
You're talking about?
Yeah.
I'm not rightly sure about that part of it. I mean, I can remember when the old Tice Bridge, we used to go across it by foot traffic. We used to go out and fish off it, and before they finally took it out completely.
Wow.
But I'm not sure about that, Jerry.
Yeah.
But I know that this area here, if you go into Moscow, there's a section of concrete yet as you go into that first street at Moscow and turn back west. That is Muscatine County's oldest paving. That was built by originally the Highway 6 program back in the 30s. They kept that section for historical reasons. That is the oldest pavement section in Muscatine County.
Imagine that. Well, from living in Wilton and some of the older boys I used to know, Moscow back in the day used to be a going concern.
Yeah.
Had 3 or 4 taverns and dance halls and all that stuff, because it used to be the quote-unquote red light district for the junction up there, the railroad junction up there, so that when they would have a stopover in town, they'd head over to Moscow and do whatever happened in Moscow in the 1930s, I guess, or whatever. Yeah. So, little known history of it. Lots changed. But, hey, we're going to get to your fishing report right now. We're going to tell you what's going on around the local area.
Listen up! You're going to want to sharpen your pencil and take some notes. It's time for your fishing report, brought to you by MuscatineTVChannel.com, where you can catch the video replay of this broadcast. Not on cable, not on satellite, but always on. It's web TV, MuscatineTVChannel.com.
Big Hollow Lake.
Bluegill are good. The male bluegills are in shallow, staging for spawn. Worm and bobber will catch them. Try the gravel flats around the jetties. Water clarity is good. The duckweed is back again, but anglers can work around it without too much trouble. Water temperature has climbed into the low 70s. Largemouth bass are good. The males are in shallow water.
Coralville Reservoir.
Channel catfish are fair. Try slow trolling cut bait. The catfish will begin moving to shallow rock to spawn in the next couple weeks. The lake is at its summer pool of 683.3. White and black crappie are good. Look for fish on shallow rock or brush.
Deep Lakes Park.
Largemouth bass, good. Bass fishing is picking up again with the return to warm weather, and the rain seems to be holding off for the most part. Bluegill are also rated as good. With clear water, look for the bedding areas that the male bluegills are setting up. While they're not actively guarding the nest yet, they still don't want to abandon their territories.
Diamond Lake.
Black crappie, rated as excellent. Look for crappie around shallow rock and brush. Tube jigs have been most productive. Chartreuse and black are working well. Remember, no minnows are allowed here in Diamond Lake. Bluegill are fair. Some 7 to 8 inch fish are being caught on worms and small jigs.
Iowa Lake.
Black crappie, fair. Try drifting the basin for suspended fish or target offshore brush piles. Many fish are around 11 inches. Bluegill are fair. They're nice-sized fish on the beds up shallow if you can find the holes in the weeds. Largemouth bass are fair. Many fish are tucked in the weeds and some are on the beds. There is quite a bit of weed growth around the shoreline of the entire lake.
Lake Belvedere.
Black crappie are slow. Anglers seem to have one last shot Friday, but since the crappie seem to have moved back out in the deep water again, it's a no-go. Bluegill, the rate is good. The bluegills are in fairly shallow, getting ready to spawn. You'll be catching mostly males. The females are out in deeper water and staging for spawn. Largemouth bass, good. Bass fishing remains good. The curly leaf pond weed beds developing. I would work those edges over the top of the weed beds.
Lake Darling.
Water temperature was 73 degrees on Wednesday afternoon. Water clarity is good. Can easily see a lot of fish in the shallow. Black crappie are fair. Most of the nicer sized crappie are out deeper around rock piles and other habitat in the 10 to 12 foot of water. A lot of smaller ones are in shallow. Bluegill are rated as good, and largemouth bass is good too.
Lake Geode.
Lake Geode, bluegill, good. The males are in shallow around the beds, and they're not defending it yet, although that might change as soon as the weather warms up. Water temps are in the mid-70s. Time to start looking for bluegills in nesting areas. Good numbers of anglers have been out on the lake.
Lake McBride.
Black crappie are fair. Most fish are done spawning and they're pulling off the bank. Many fish are in the 9 to 10 inch range. Walleye are rated as fair. Anglers trolling spinner rigs and crankbaits are having some success. Most fish are between 13 and 18 inches. Largemouth bass are fair. Look for fish around shallow rock and wood. The bass should be getting ready to spawn if they haven't already.
Lake Saguma.
Black crappie are fair. Use jigs or jig and minnow combinations. Target areas in the flooded timber or rocky shorelines. Try different colors and different depths until finding active fish. Largemouth bass are fair. Target shorelines or rock jetties using crankbaits or spinner baits. Jig and pig combo should also be tried. Walleye are rated as fair. Use a jig tipped with a minnow along the dam or other rip-rap shorelines. Minnows fished under a bobber can also be productive. Try different depths.
Get out there and enjoy the great outdoors that Iowa has to offer.
And by gosh, there's a lot of them, ain't there, Wes? We sit there and go through, it's like, man, how long is this fishing report? Well, I tried to get it in here and record it because I'm not a professional like Wes Jordan or Millie or Tim Scott or Tony.
Wait, you called us all professional?
Oh,
here's
more
that $20 I owe you.
As you can see on the TV camera there was no $20 offered up. Oh my God.
Wait, I gotta make it look good. gotta make it look good here.
No, I have a problem with my mouth to eye to mouth coordination. For some reason, I sit there and stare at that sheet, try to do that. Big and big, big. But anyway, hey, what I want to talk about here is we talked about a little bit earlier is about the bluegill spawn. That's what we got going on right now up at the Lake Belvedere. And I posted a picture, like I said earlier, on Facebook. Go to Jerry's Outdoor Show on Facebook and take a look. You may have to scroll back through some few posts. And basically, when we say you can call them depressions, you can call them holes, you can call them spawning beds, basically up in the shallows towards the bank, you will see it'll look like the surface of the moon is about the best way
A crater
is the best way that I can describe it. It kind of looks like a big piece of Swiss cheese also, because there's going to be a hole. I mean, we passed over thousands. I'm going to say a 1,000 easily just in that northwest corner. Now, typically, what happened was a lot of people on Facebook is, "What's this? The aliens landed? Is it Roswell? What's going on?" No. It's bluegill spawn is what's going on. What they're asking? Well, what's bluegill spawn? What's spawn? All right. Well, the spawn is nature's way of reproducing fish. How it normally happens, and we'll use my good friend Wes Jordan here as an example.
Okay.
The big bull male is looking for a mate. So, how do you do that? Well, you have to have a nice looking place. So he goes in there and gussies it up. Now, the bluegill, they kind of spin around and they blow out these holes for a nest. Kind of like Wes when he cleans up. He's running around like a whirlwind and everything because got some ladies coming over. So once you get your nest established, the males will sit on there, and the females are a little bit out in the deeper water, and they wait till the water warms up and the conditions are right, and what they do is they'll swim up and they'll inspect these nests. And usually the bulls are sitting in there, and the ladies dig your digs.
What kind of wine are they serving to attract the ladies? I just need to know this.
Next one I catch, I will ask. I'm
and are
sure
they listening to Barry White? That's the other thing I need to
I'm
know.
sure it's a Nightcrawler brand wine.
A nice vintage Nightcrawler.
Probably a nice, 2011 or something like that. So the females will come in. They'll deposit their eggs. The males will fertilize the eggs. And then like any good relationship,
then nature happens.
After the female's got what she wanted, she takes off, leaves the male holding the bag. But what he's doing is he's staying on top of that nest, and it's usually about a 2-week period till the eggs hatch. And what he's doing is waving his tail, keeping water flushing over the eggs, and keeping away intruders.
Does that keep him warm at all too, with him moving his friction over his?
That's why they're so far up in the shells, because
Got
of
it.
the natural warming of the water and the
Got it.
daylight and sunlight and that. What he's also doing is chasing away predators or smaller fish that are coming in there and trying to nab his eggs. Now, if the conditions are right, like I said on Saturday, they were there, they took off, so we were a little early. And there was some big bulls on the nest. And, brother, I could drop that jig to the left of him, to the right of him, right. If he would have yawned, I could have stuck that jig in his mouth. He wasn't biting. They're focused. They're about their business. You're not going to be able to do it. But now that the water's warmed up, I'm going to probably guess, I haven't been down there to check it out, I'm going to guess that the females have deposited their eggs and they split, and the males are on top guarding the nest. Now, after a period of time, you can drop your jig in there or a worm, bob, or whatever, and they're going to see that as a predator, and they're going to try chasing it away, and they might even bite at it. But here's the thing I want to put out there. This is easy pickings. This is what's called shooting fish in a barrel. I want you, if you come across this, it'd be very easy to get your limit, but I want you to practice restraint when you go out there and you see that. Pick up a couple, but let the rest be. Concentrate on the fatter females that are off a little bit deeper in the weeds. Because I'm going to tell you what, once you remove that DNA from the water body, it's gone. Okay, so if you're out there just picking off all the big males, then pretty soon you get a West Lake situation where all you got are these little stunted bluegill running around up there. No way to reintroduce that until they restock. So I'm not saying it isn't a good time, and you can see some big bluegill, but I'm just saying practice a little restraint.
Yeah, you can do a lot of damage at that point.
Right, exactly. So anyway, speaking about doing some damage, let's put some sponsors on. We'll be right back with Jerry's Outdoor Show.
I've spent 1,000 miles.
Don't you change that dial. We've got some more great fishing advice coming up. Actual fishing advice may not be helpful. Right here on Jerry's Outdoor Show on KWPC AM 860 and 95.1 FM.
Mitchell Arms and Ammo has moved. Stop by their new location on Park Avenue inside the old Lincoln School. They are still your locally owned gun shop. Owner Troy Mitchell takes his time to find the right firearm to fit your needs. Visit them online today at mitchellarmsandammo.com and start searching their inventory. Suppressors will be available in July. They offer online pricing and local pickup. No freight or extra fees. Just add tax and pick up at the store in a few days. And warranties are honored locally too. Call them at 319-212-0239.
Is your boat not starting well or running to its fullest potential? Have Nigel at Tailwater Marine take a look and have it running tip-top again. Conveniently located on Mississippi Drive, just south of downtown Muscatine, Tailwater Marine has years of experience and the skills to keep you worry-free on the water. Tailwater also carries towables, water toys, and accessories for your fun and safety on the water. Call Tailwater Marine, 563-264-BOAT. That's 563-264-2628.
Pierce Custom Rods are handcrafted of the finest materials available and designed to provide the most enjoyable fishing experience imaginable. Each rod features a perfect blend of power, action, and detail customized for the user. If you want the utmost in performance, quality, feel, and appearance from your custom rods, choose Pierce Custom Rods. Search Pierce Custom Rods and like them on Facebook or call 563-299-8645.
And now back to more Jerry's Outdoor Show. If you've missed part of this episode or any other episode, what were you thinking? Give Jerry's Outdoor Show a like on Facebook. Listen to past episodes on iTunes, Podbean, and jerry'souttdoorshow.com. From the Port Louisa News Studio and Trailer House, here's Inside the Outdoors with Hermit Longhorn.
Well, local legend and Jerry's Outdoor Show co-host Randy Brewer was rushed to the hospital Monday morning after he accidentally swallowed a quarter. After a 3-day stay, it finally passed. Doctors were amazed that there were 2 dimes in a nickel found in the bottom of his bedpan. Dang, Lester, now that's what I call dirty money. Man, I wouldn't even spend none of that. I wouldn't even touch it. Unless, of course, it was like he ate $1 million or something. Well, I hope Randy Brewer's going to be okay. I don't know why he was eating money. Maybe he was trying to launder some money or something. And yeah, we should probably take him some flowers or something. He'd probably appreciate something like that. Now, here's one. The Minnesota DNR arrested an angler over the weekend for possessing 492 fish over his legal limit. The angler of Asian descent, who identified himself as Get Too Many, is facing a 3-year fishing license suspension and a $10,000 fine. When asked for comment, Too Many replied, "I'm really lucky. It could have been worse." Dang, Lester, listen to this one. A man was taking a leak in the bathroom in his home in Thailand when a huge python came out of the toilet and clamped down on his member. What? I don't know, Lester. I guess you can use either bathroom, male or female now. Well, that's true. On the bright side, he can use the bathroom at Target. Reports say the man will now change his name to Me Dong Gong. And I know it, that's a perfect name. Me Dong Gong, Me Dong Gong. We should write a song about that one. And yep, some crazy news this week. And I know, we should probably send that Me Dong Gong fella something. Maybe a letter or something expressing our sorrow for his loss. Well, there was that one guy that his wife cut off his tallywhacker when she caught him cheating. And the doctor sewed that one back on, but reports didn't say nothing about what they did with the python or whether they caught it or not. Of course, they'd have to cut the tallywhacker right out of the python's belly if it ain't been digested or not. Well, here's the word up on this week's sponsor. J. Noah's Mule Aid. Got a sluggish and lazy mule? Get your ass in gear today with J. Noah's Mule Aid. Well, there you'll have it. This is Hermit Longhorn reporting from the inside of the Outdoor Show.
Now, folks, see, I just get this stuff sent to me. I have no hand in any of this. But
you had nothing to do with that at all.
But anyway, we're missing Randy. Randy's on the upkeep. He's on the he's getting better. But since Randy's present is missing here, I'm going to have playing the part of Randy Brewer today. I'm going to have Wes Jordan. So here, I got these written out, and you just interject them anytime you want to interject them, just like Randy would.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, I've been looking for a motor, Lonnie.
Yes.
And I've talked to our good friend and good sponsor, Nigel Phelps, down there at Tailwater Marine. And I just want to say this, and it's not because he's a sponsor, but I've been looking for a motor. And I called him last week or a couple weeks ago. I said, hey, I'm looking for a motor. I want a 15 to 25 horse, long shaft. I'm looking for a good used motor. If we can't find it, I would rather just go ahead and buy a new one. He goes,
Jerry.
Yeah, Randy.
I find a lot of times when you're out on the river and it's hot, nothing cools you off quicker than a cold Pepsi and a sliced onion.
Thank you, Randy. And anyway, so I told him, I said, hey, I'm looking for a good used motor, So he said, hey, I got one for you. A guy brought it in. It looks like pretty good shape. I'll take a look at it and give you a holler, So he did, and he called me and said, well, here's what's going on with it. And he could have just easily said, hey, here's this guy. He wants X amount of dollars. I got it down here. Come down and pick it up. He started it up. He went through it, and he found that the shaft had been bent, and somebody had tried straightening it out, seals, all that good stuff. And he called me up. He goes, well, you know what? I went through it, and here's what you got going on with the motor. You still interested? This is what it'll cost to fix. I'm just saying this is what you want, ladies and gentlemen, in a boat mechanic.
It's kind of like a flathead with a shotgun. Dang, if you know how he's got it and hopping, he don't know how to use it.
Thank you. And anyway, so he took his time and he went through there, and he saved me a lot of trouble. Now, this, ladies and gentlemen, this is what you're looking for in a mechanic: honest, trustworthy. Because I could easily have that motor out in the middle of wherever and it conked out on me. But that's Nigel Phelps down there at Tailwater Marine. And to find a young guy like that's honest of business, that's what you're looking for. And believe me, he's busy down there.
What was the brand on it?
The brand on the motor?
Yes.
I believe it was a Yamaha or a Honda.
I see.
I can't remember.
I see.
But,
yeah, because I know some people that had met with a salesman there for Suzuki and pinpointed him on complaints. What's the biggest complaint on a Suzuki outboard? He says, well, we do have one. And well, what's that? He says, well, they run so quiet you can hear your wife complain.
But no, go get my good friend Nigel Phelps. He's on Facebook. Look him up on Tailwater Marine. I just think that in this day and age, and everybody's a young man compared to me these days, but he's got his head on his shoulders, and he's really going to go far in this business. And everybody I talk to is he's got a real good reputation. And I'm not just saying that because he's a sponsor. The kid knows his stuff down there. So go check him out at Tailwater Marine. He's all about his business down there. Now, last week in the Voice of Muscatine paper, I put in an article about diddy poles. It's getting to be diddy poles, like you're saying. Your brother had some success out there with diddy poles on the cedar. So I put this article about diddy poles 101, and I'm not going to go through the whole article. I'm just going to hit the finer points of it. What a diddy pole. The DNR claims what they say a diddy pole is considered as is it's a rod sticking out of the bank. It's got a line hanging off it with a hook. You can call it diddy poles. You can call it limb lines, bank poles, trot. There's whole sorts of names that you can call it, but we're just going to stick with the term diddy pole for this little segment here. Now, Iowa law states you can have 5 ditty poles per licensed angler. That means you can have 5 lines. Now, when I say a ditty pole, what I use is basically a 5-foot piece of PVC, 3/4-inch PVC with an eye hook. It's got comparable, I would call it 60-pound braided gold line. It's actually like heavy-duty twine and a 9-aught hook. 9-aught hooks are huge, okay? And then I use a bluegill on the end of it and do that. So that's what I use as a ditty pole. I know guys will use willow branches, re-rod with a washer welded on top of it. For sake of argument, those are ditty poles. Now, you're allowed 5 of them in the state of Iowa per licensed angler. Now, with having that, you'll also have some other things you need to follow with that. On your ditty pole, you need to have a flag or be able to legibly write on there your name, your address, and your phone number. What I used to do is take duct tape, wrap it around the end of it, make kind of a little flag on it, and write all my personal information on there. So that way, when the DNR comes across it, like Joe comes across it, he knows who it is and this and that. The thing I left out of the article, because Joe had called me, he goes, yeah, that's a pretty decent article you read, but you left out the thing about 15 hooks. I left that out on purpose because it was a magazine, or it was an article for the newspaper. You are allowed 5 lines, 5 poles. But on those 5 poles, you can have up to a maximum of 3 hooks per each line, totaling 15 hooks total, if you want to run 3 hooks. Now, I normally only ram 1, Sometimes we'd put another one for a stinger hook, when we're using salamanders and that. The important thing is that's your limit on running them bank lines out there. What kind of setup does your brother usually run out there?
Yeah, we basically run the same thing. I haven't, it's been a couple of years, but I have a small round cylindrical pipe with a weight welded in the end of it. And what I typically do is the same thing what you're talking about. I take a piece of rebar, drive the rebar down into the ground, because trying to push, sometimes you get into some rocky areas. And then I just simply, it's up high enough, I slide the PVC right over the top of that. And then, you leave it, at a good 70, 80 degree angle and just drop it in. Now, the only difference I'd ask you is, what do you use for a weight, or do you use a weight?
I don't use a weight because I know some guys do. They like to use a weight. The reason why I don't, and this is just my theory, if you're using a good, sizable bluegill, I believe if you use a weight and you stick it through their back, that's how I normally hook them, and you stick it down there, I believe they get complacent with the hook after a while, so they're not making a whole bunch of noise. Now, the way I would do is I'd hook it through their back and kind of loop the string up around the top of the ditty pole, so just the back part of their dorsal fin is sticking out of the water. Now, you got to be careful if the cedars raise in or lower in, because you can come back the next morning and there's your bait swinging in the air, because of a fast drop. But with that, I believe I always got more fish, because that bluegill, it freaks them out, and they're just going to run around in a circle, and they're going to cause all sorts of commotion, and that's what brings the flathead. Now, like I said, I know guys weight them, you weight them, you say. I just believe they get complacent after a while, and they're not moving around.
Yeah, to finish off the story on my rebar, when I drive that in, I always have a big pair of vice grips. And then when I want to move them, or if I decide I'm going to pull them, I clamp that on there, and then you can twist and crank, and they pull out. Fairly, it makes it easier for me anyway to drive the rebar in and just simply slide the PVC over it, and it's fast and easy, and it works out fairly well for me.
Right, and I talked to Joe this morning, and another thing I want to pass on there, and I put it on there, was by law, you need to actively be fishing that pole in a 24-hour period. So let's just say, for example, you're running line. Let's say you still worked, okay? You can't stick a couple ditty poles out there on Saturday and Sunday and then leave them and come back next Saturday and Sunday without checking them during the week. You need to pull those up, get them out of there. It used to be a thing where the guys would just take the bait off of it, stick the hook up there in the eyelet, and consider it good. That's going to get you a ticket.
And my understanding of that is because I have a lot of river property through there. People stick those in there, and they get done fishing for the weekend, and that's where they'd remain.
Right.
The hooks, the pipe, and everything, and then they just stuff for brush to get tangled up in, and then people get mad at me because I go down and pull them out of the ground and clean up the bank a little bit.
Well, as according to Joe, you will get a ticket for that if you're not actively fishing.
Using them.
We were actually talking yesterday, and he said, he's got some violations on our neck of the woods. I won't go into all that, but he said there was one I pulled up on, and the bluegill was actually growing hair. Or the bullhead was actually growing hair. So, you can't just leave it in there. You got to be actively fishing it, or you will wind up with a ticket. But, like you said, a 60, 40, whatever, size blue or size flathead, you're able to pull up out there. Here's another thing a lot of people didn't know out there is in the article I said, yes, you can use any legal fish that you catch in Iowa waters, you can use as bait. You can use a crappie. You can use a bluegill. You can use a 16-inch bass. Why would you? But as long as you caught it with legal means, you can use it. But here's the caveat. You need to catch it in the body of water you're fishing in. Okay? Here's the thing. You can't go to Discovery Park, take your nephew, get a 5-gallon bucket full of them little bluegill, and then take them to the Cedar, take them to the Mississippi, or vice versa. Go to the Mississippi, get a bunch, bring them over to the Cedar. Well, that comes up in my area is like, well, how can you catch a bluegill or a crappie in the Cedar? Well, that's a very easy answer. F70, Chicken Creek. These are backwaters of the Cedar River, that's where you're going to find your bait. So you can use that. Another thing Joe wanted me to pass along, if you're using minnow traps to catch bait, your minnow traps can't be no longer than 36 inches. So I'm just putting it out there, maybe save you guys some tickets. I know a lot of guys have fished a long time, and maybe you were doing things. I wouldn't say you weren't trying to go do them illegally, but just trying to bring you up to speed on what you need to know. But yeah, the thing about leaving your rods or leaving your bank poles and all that in, right, water comes up, they get washed down, you're basically polluting. They get washed up on shore, you got them big hooks, animals get caught in them, this and that and the other thing. So if you're not actively fishing them within 24, pull them. Just pull them out of there, throw them in the boat. A lot of guys I know that do, they always got a stack of them laying in their boat.
I know that it's been a few years ago, and Tom Campbell was the DNR officer at that time, and I had spoke to him. One of the arguments that fishing along the river is that you got to fish ditty poles off of mainland. And so if you've got an island out there, you need to know is that which side of that island is the mainland side. And often enough we'd come across people say, well, you can't fish this, you can't fish that, it's not mainland, or vice versa. We can't put lines there. There was an island out in front of the Salisbury boat landing years ago. Also, it's much smaller now, but the island right above the Cedar River Bridge on Highway 6. That one is illegal because that property where that sandbar is on the east side comes all the way out to that island.
Right.
So the main body of water is the channel that runs right along the bluff side there on Highway 6. So you can fish that legally with ditty poles.
Yeah, and me, when I go out and I ditty pole, I usually like to look for log jams, cuts in the banks, real steep banks, and stuff like that. I've never ever caught one sticking in a sandbar or anything like that, but I always look for them spots. It's the other thing I was talking to Joe. I said, I know a real problem on the Cedar River, which I think is probably more of a problem, is that dancing pole really calls a lot of guys' attention. There's a lot of flathead thieving goes on there, so. But it's enjoyable. It's fun to take somebody that's never, ever done it. How big these catfish get? They get to 8 to 10 pounds. Make sure when you go up there and you grab that line that you stick that net underneath there now before you pull it up. And that head comes out of the water and, oh, my God, toot it, Elizabeth, toot it. I mean, and they splash, but like I said, for the purposes of doing a fish fry, it's great. So we got a phone call. We have one.
Oh, there it is.
There we go. Hey, you're on Jerry's Outdoor Show. Who do we got on the line with us?
Try it again.
Hey, you're on Jerry's Outdoor Show. Who do we got on the line with us?
Hey, you got Sue, and I got a question.
Sure.
When you was talking about using, fish for bait,
Right.
and you said that it was okay, but you just had to use it out of that water that you were fishing in?
Yeah, it's the same body of water.
Okay, call me a dumb woman, but what do these fish have? License plates on them? How in the hell do they know it came out of that body of water?
Well, it's not for them to know. It's for you to know as, I would say, a responsible fisherman.
Well, okay.
The reason, I'm going to tell you why the reason is.
Disease?
Well, let's say let's pick some strange body of water. Let's say Gidney Lake. Well, that's actually an offshoot of Cedar. Okay, let's pick a farm pond, okay?
Okay.
And you pick a farm pond, and you get these fish that you think are shad, and you keep them alive. And then you take them over to the Cedar River, or you take them to Chicken Creek, or you take them to Discovery Park, and your bucket tips over. And all your shad get let loose in the Discovery Park. Well, come to find out, they really weren't shad. They were big-head Asian carp. Now, your body of water, you just contaminated with big Asian carp they would never ever got in there, and then they're hard to get out. Same thing with shad. There's a lot of places like Diamond Lake. They don't want minnows in there because minnows are basically carp. And
got it.
Okay? And I won't call you a dumb woman. I did that once, and I'm still not over that.
No, that's okay. I was stymied there for a minute.
All right, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. No, and she brings up a good point. It's like, how the hell you should know.
Yep.
You should know the difference between right and wrong. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Happens more than not, but I'm just telling you should be aware of it. And then you could probably get in a thing if you're driving from point A to point B and you get pulled over and you got a bucket full of bluegill because you shouldn't have them in your live well because your live well is supposed to be drained down. So they could get you for transporting and this and that, and it can go on and on and on. And like I said, folks, I think the last time I heard was like $132 for fish. Yep. So is it worth it? You tell me. Hey, we're going to slide into a commercial break, and we're going to be right back. Hey, don't touch that dial, bro, Tater Chip.
Don't say it's a fine morning or I'll shoot you.
We've got more of Jerry's Outdoor Show right here on KWPC, AM 860 and 95.1 FM.
The body's a temple, that's what we're taught. Well, I've traded this one like an old
Indian Creek Lure Company is your family-owned tackle shop. They carry the finest in bass fishing products. They carry items not found anywhere else. In fact, if they don't have it, you don't need it. Indian Creek Lure Company specializes in the more specialized tackle. Indian Creek also carries Dobbins and Denali fishing rods, as well as their own line of Indian Creek rods. They can help you spec out a custom rod that's the perfect fit for you, and they cater to bass clubs and tournament anglers. Check out their website, IndianCreekLures.com today. Are you looking for a reliable taxidermist who does superior work? Here's taxidermist Shannon Spooner telling you in sign language why he's the best around. Oh, we forgot to mention, he's deaf. Deaf Guy Taxidermy in Clinton mounts every type of game imaginable, from deer and coyotes, fish and ducks, you name it, he can mount it. Text him, please. Don't call 563-613-4411 or send him an email to deafguytaxidermy@icloud.com. Deaf Guy Taxidermy, proud sponsor of Jerry's Outdoor Show. Listen on KWPC Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Shannon wishes he could.
The place where he was born and raised.
Sounds like a place to fish or baiting down at the bottoms. This is Randy Brewer from the Outback Bait and Tackle Shop. When you're ready to go fishing, to hit the river and local fishing holes, come and see me. I've been fishing our local areas for over 40 years. I'll be able to set you up with the right bait and tackle for our fishing holes in the area. I'll even throw in some of my experience fishing advice. So before you head out to your fishing hole, come see me at the RB's Outback Bait and Tackle, located 16114 County Road X61 here in Muscatine. Call me at 563-506-0490. Sign says 9 to 5. Call anytime after. We'll get your bait.
That's a spicy meatball.
The Sicilian Pizzeria in Wilton is now serving domestic and import beer plus wine that complement all the great dishes prepared by owner and our friend Gary Brown. The Sicilian brings you the taste of New York Sicilian-style pizza plus Chicago favorites like Italian beef, meatball, and many more delicious authentic sandwiches. Really hungry? Order a Chicago-style stuffed pizza. Mouth-watering good. It's the Sicilian Pizzeria, 912 West 5th Street in Wilton. Call and place your order with Gary today at 563-732-9396. Satisfy your taste buds with the Sicilian.
Well, hello there. It's the Colonel, and it's your time to win a prize on Jerry's Outdoor Show. I say, just give him a ring-a-dingy on the telephone. I say 563-263-8600, and you could win. Brought to you from our good friends at JB's Fish Sauce. Check them out at jbsfishsauce.com. And remember, fish just can't lay off the sauce. I say, good luck.
So you think, was he a colonel in the Army or the Navy?
I think he's probably Navy.
Navy?
We're going to go Navy.
A Navy guy?
Yeah, I think he's a Navy boy.
The colonel.
The colonel.
So give me a call right now at 563-263-8600. You win some of this JB's Fish Sauce. I'm going to tell you why, folks. Right now is mosquito season, gnat season, sunscreen season, all the stuff that you liberally apply to your body to keep the sun off you and the bugs off you. That scent will transfer from that if you're handling your bait or your lures, and them fish will catch on to that, and they're not going to bite. What helps with this JB's Fish Sauce is it adds an attractant, and it blocks your smell. So give me a call right now at 563-263-8600. You win. It's that simple. So we've been talking a lot about flatheads this morning. And before I left it, there we go. Hey, you're on Jerry's Outdoor Show. Who do we got on with us?
Well, good morning. This is Myrtle calling.
Hello, Myrtle. How are you, my dear?
Hello. Hi, boy. Am I on the air?
Yeah, you're on the air.
Oh, goody. I just wanted to ask you a question.
Yes, go ahead, my dear.
Used to do these pigeon reports. And how I've missed them.
Yeah, I bet you have,
Myrtle,
yes.
I was just wondering if y'all might be doing those again.
What part of the South are you from, Myrtle?
I'm from Alabama.
Really, Alabama? What city in Alabama? I got family down in Alabama.
From Montgomery, Alabama.
Montgomery. Hey, my brother-in-law is Joe Schaefer. Do you know him?
I don't know any Schaefers.
Oh, you don't know any Schaefers at all?
No.
Well, what you want to do is you want to look this guy up. He's on America's Most Wanted. I mean, all sorts of bad stuff. You want to look him up. If you're down there.
He raises those pigeons?
No, he sells them on the black market.
Well, I was just hoping you'd do those pigeon reports like you did last year. We sure enjoyed that here at the nursing home.
Uh-huh, and your accent seems to be trailing on and off.
No.
Oh, it isn't? Are you sure, Kathy? What? Excuse me, Myrtle? Kathy?
We just missed those reports. So I just bring that up.
A little slow day at the house.
Well, I hope you have a good weekend.
I think I'm going to have a terrible afternoon.
You'll be calling me saying, hey, Wes, you got an extra spot in your apartment?
Clean it out. Clean your nest out real good. What flavor fish sauce, dear, you want?
I like the coffee.
You sure? Because I think you're probably going to be chewing my anus when I get home.
Bye, boy.
Oh, everybody wants to be on the radio. Anyway, I took this off the internet this morning. It's 10 things not to do while flathead fishing. I wish Randy was here and we could discuss this, but I got Lonnie in here, and Lonnie catches a lot of flathead. So you agree with these or disagree with them, Lonnie? Tell me this. Number one thing not to do while flathead fishing, turn the radio off. You're making too much noise. You're going to spook the catfish.
I disagree.
I disagree with that, too.
Do I get to pick? Do I get to pick too?
Yeah, you can pick.
Sure, all right. I would leave it on, depending on which station you're listening to.
We pass boats blaring the radio while flathead fishing. This is always a no-no. Flatheads are apex predators and use all their heightened senses, including sound, to detect prey or danger. I've never come across. There was like maybe 3 or 4 out of these 10 that I agreed with, because I've always seemed to catch fish. Number 2, heavy feet stomping around in the boat. Is that going to scare away the flathead?
It hasn't me.
I'd say yes, because you're vibrating the boat, which is vibrating the water, correct?
Which goes through there, but I don't know anybody that flathead catfishes right directly under their boat.
Yeah.
Now, when I flathead catfish, I usually got a 1.5-pound bluegill with a 3-ounce weight thrown out about 5,000 yards ahead of me. So, I guess if you can find them right below your boat, fine. Dropping objects, it's the same thing as making noise. I don't know who's dropping wrenches and weights inside their boat, unless you got a 5-year-old that's bored.
Well, like I say, I got a post driver for a re-rod, and yeah, I drop them.
Well, but how often have you just baited a line and then motored off and it's bobbing already?
Yeah.
You already got a flathead. It doesn't matter to me. And now, this is one I do agree with. Bug sprays. Often fishing at night, mosquitoes are a definite issue. So when you're using that bug spray and you're rubbing it on your face or your legs or whatever, that smell is on your hands, and now you're transferring it to the bait and you're tossing it out there. And
I agree.
Flathead can smell that. So this is a perfect spot for some of that JB's fish sauce.
Exactly, and anything like that. I mean, we've all heard the old war stories about WD-40.
Yep.
Yeah,
what you're doing is you're masking your scent, these odors that you're putting in the water. Repetitive bad casting. Say you got a flathead hole, and you keep chucking out there. You gonna scare them off? Nope, absolutely not. But they say it is.
Actually, it's recommended by some. I do it to throw a little extra catfish bait out there when you start.
Chum in the hole.
Yep.
Chum in the hole. Another one they said is a no-no is dragging your baits. Basically, you're throwing your bait out there and you're kind of trolling it through the hole.
I guess I don't troll for flathead.
Right.
But I have caught catfish and smaller flathead.
Right.
Dragging them on the bottom. I mean, I guess I would say it wouldn't. For the big ones, maybe. Little ones, now.
Right. So, the other one is coming in hot. Now, this one, this is an obvious no-brainer to me. You got a hole, and you come running over it at 60 miles an hour, and then turn around and then go back through it, and then anchor off top of it. Yeah, you're probably going to spook some out of there.
That's true with any fish. Why do you think they make trolling motors?
Right, exactly. A lot of things, what they're missing here is your flathead and your catfish. These are cavity dwellers. They find a nice little hole in the bright, hot sun of the day, and they hang out there all day. Catfish, flathead, what have you, they're nocturnal feeders. So if you're going out there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, chances are you're not going to be doing too good for flathead, Number 9, shining lights in the water. You think that that scares them off, or you think that attracts them?
I say scares them off.
I don't know. I really don't know how to answer that, because we do a lot of catfishing at night and checking lines, because that's when they feed.
Right.
Really, we have our best catfishing at night.
Right.
So in order to check your lines every 2-3 hours, you got to use lights.
Right.
So
exactly.
I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah, I looked over this list, and that's the thing that my point is, being on Facebook, I get posted with 1,000 things, and this one came up this morning, 10 things not to do when you're flat. I could agree with about 3 of them that were presented. So I don't know where this came from, where it is, but obviously the guy needs to come up to Iowa and do a little bit of flathead fishing up here. Now, typically they should be done and spawned out by now, I would think. Flathead, typically, they're a little bit cooler water, 55, 60. So it should be on. But the regular catfish spawn, I think we're a couple weeks out from that. The channel cats.
And we look at least as I grew up, and I think my brothers do too, that do very active in this, is that we kind of watch for water levels and catch the water levels on the rise. And that's when it kind of, there's a lot of fresh bait washed in, activates feeding.
Right.
And we seem to have better luck at that point for the channel cat part of it.
Right. Rising water should always be a better time to catch fish because it's flushing a lot of crawdads out of their holes. It's putting a buffet out in the water, basically, is what it's doing. Now, have you heard anything? I've been getting this email all week. Are the catfish biting dew worms floated on bobbers in the rock shed on the cedar? Have you heard anything like that?
I haven't. I've got a couple of campers that actively do that, and they haven't said anything about catching them. And I haven't been up on the pier yet this spring to cast out and drift down like I typically do. So I know it's possible, but I haven't heard of anybody catching any that way yet.
Right. Yeah, so I haven't heard it. You know what? It's just been such a screwy spring.
Yeah.
Such a screwy spring. A lot of rainy days, a lot of overcast days. I think when we were up there at Belvedere looking at the spawning grounds, you know, when I read these reports, hell, you got crappies spawning here, you got crappies that haven't even started over here. Bluegills are done here. They're not even close to being. There was bass intermixed at Lake Belvedere. I mean, you can see some big holes. So it's just been one of those screwy springs.
2 or 3 warm days.
Right. It
makes a world of difference.
Well, I know it worked for the gnats.
Yeah.
Yes. So I guess that's the thing. If you're headed out, it's Memorial Day weekend. Be safe out there. Maybe use some of these tips or tricks that we talked to you about. I don't know. The weather, I don't know. We've been trying. Me and Wes have been trying for last 2 months to get Eric Maitland. We get him close, and then I can do it. I can't do it. I can do it. I can't do it. It's like, can you do my show or not? But I figure if I get a weatherman in here to tell us, exactly what's going on. And like I said, last night, stymied me. I stayed home. I thought, oh man, I even was talking to you.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be raining by 7 o'clock. You might as well not even go out.
Yeah.
And
it didn't happen.
It goes.
Yeah.
So everybody's out there camping. There'll be a lot of people on the water this weekend if the conditions hold like they are. Lay off the alcohol a little bit. I'm not saying I have a good time, but the sun and the booze gets to mixing, and then that's when trouble happens. But have a good time out there. Be safe. Be respectful of other boaters. I know a lot of people get brand new boats, and they want to go cruising up and down Lake Odessa at 100 miles an hour, and you got people out there in canoes and kayaks. There's a lot more traffic out there on the rivers now with the kayaks and the canoes.
And you bring up a good point, one that's kind of near and dear, because I have grandkids that just love it to come out. I got a boat dock, and I fish it, and by all means, 13 and younger. We went through this the other day with the DNR. Put them in a life jacket.
Yep.
You're an adult. It's your decision. But those little fellas, especially on a Cedar River,
right?
Which is the swiftest river in Iowa.
They don't stand a chance, do they?
No. Put them in a life jacket.
A lot of adults don't even stand a chance.
Yes, exactly.
So with that, have a good Memorial Day weekend. Hey, post your pictures to me at Jerry's Outdoor Show on Facebook. I'm more than happy to put them up there, and you can show off your cast and your catch. Other thing, we got, don't forget, we got the big Jerry's Outdoor Show Fish Fry coming up on June 18th. That's a Saturday night down at the VFW. My good friend Hermit Longhorn and the Port Louisa Trio will be doing some entertaining, and we'll have some catfish, some crappies, some bass, some hush puppies, whatever. We're going to have a good old feed. So for everybody here, we'll see you all later. Have a good holiday weekend. Bye-bye, everybody.
See you, folks.
You've been listening to Jerry's Outdoor Show. Special thanks to Indian Creek Lure Company, the Sicilian Pizzeria Wilton, Mitchell Arms and Ammo, Pierce Custom Rods, Tailwater Marine, Deaf Guy Taxidermy, and RB's Outback Bait and Tackle. Tune in every Friday morning at 10 a.m. right here on AM 860, FM 95.1, KWPC, the voice of Muscatine.
Well, I love her, but I love to fish. Spend all day out on this lake, and hell is all I can.
We are so glad you came. Bye-bye. 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 Bye. Bye-bye.